Good morning, everybody. I am getting ready to go to the dentist. I have this look on my face for a reason. I'm not going to be able to chew after this appointment until I get dentures. I tried to bargain. I tried to deny. I tried to delay. But it's happening. I've passed the tipping point on this tooth right here. So right here is a canine, and that's hard to tell because it's so broken. And then right here is a premolar right here. As you can see, behind it is no tooth. And then behind it is another tooth that does not have a lower tooth to match. So down here, I've got two here and one here that I chew with. And they're all three premolars. This one is infected. And not just a little bit infected, like I was considering the final option, that kind of pain. And me, I've had dental pain before, so I know how to cope with it. So for it to get so bad that I spent, I think it was an hour, wondering about going to the ER by ambulance. And then in the morning, I did go to the ER, thankfully not by ambulance because I have to pay for the ambulance. My dad took me to the ER. Thankfully, they didn't have to give me IV antibiotics because that would take forever. You have to wait for this liquid to go through this skinny little tube into your veins. And that takes 4+ hours, depending on the speed of the drip. So I was not looking forward to having a needle in my arm for 4 hours. Thankfully, they did not have to do that. They gave me Vicodin. And actually, now that I'm more awake and my blood pressure is pumping, I'm about to take another Vicodin, and it's starting to hurt again. So I've got Narco, Vicodin, whatever you want to call it, hydrocodone plus acetaminophen. And then I've got this big boy. It says 2, 3. Hold on, let me turn on the light. So on this side it says 3, 2. And on the back it says X. This is, let me make sure not to flash you my pharmacy, amoxicillin and clavulunate potassium. Amoxicillin and clavulunate potassium. 875 milligrams to 125 milligrams. Okay. And just standard narco Vicodin that I mean, it's no secret that I go to a specific hospital, but the hospital I go to in the region that I live in, they hand out Vicodin like candy. And I avoid it like the plague because when I was younger, I got my wisdom teeth removed, and the Vicodin gave me cravings for like a week afterwards. It was horrible. And you would think it wouldn't give you cravings because it doesn't get you high. What was Dr. House doing popping multiple Vicodins? There's acetaminophen in it. He's not even getting high properly. Anyway, I need to do my makeup real quick. How much time do we have? Not much time at all, so I'll focus on eye makeup. So I just had an epiphany. What if my opioid receptor is a little bit different than everybody else's and that's why it doesn't get me high? What if other people are getting high off of Vicodin? That's so weird. Like, yeah, the first time I ever took it, the first dose made me feel a little bit like cotton. I'm about to say something very grown up. After you do the deed successfully, there's a feeling throughout your body that you feel like you're floating on a cloud and it feels euphoric and pleasant. And that's what Vicodin feels like. And overdosing on heroin feels like having an orgasm constantly. So I can definitely see why people get addicted to heroin. But Vicodin, it's just, you have to be desperate for that to be your only saving grace. Anyway, I have healthier coping skills, so don't worry about me. But let's get to it. I've got a big bag of makeup. Alright. I guess we could bang slap some makeup on. I need to take with me this one, Sparkly Killer Bunny, of the Bloody Tint Sushi Glow Cosmetics lip stain, so that I can show it to, I guess she's called a hygienicist, the dental assistant, the lady that assists the dentist. I don't know why they're always ladies. Now that I think about it, why is the dentist a guy and all the hygienists women? Because women are smarter and they get their degrees for fewer years in exchange for about the same amount of money. That's right, that's what my mom did. She became a physician assistant instead of a physician. She could still prescribe makeup, and she could prescribe medicine, and she could assist in surgery, but she could not lead a surgery. So she was quite a powerhouse. Can you see me? You can see me. So, the first time I went to this particular dentist to get a tooth pulled, she asked me what lipstick I was wearing after I had gauze in my mouth, so I could barely explain to her. So, she just kind of assumed it was my Milani lipstick that I kept putting on over and over. But I was putting that on for a moisture layer, because my lips get really dry at the dentist. And I have this scar here, a scar here, and a scar here that all can get inflamed or break open if you dry them out too much. Huge reason I quit drinking was because when I actually tried out quitting drinking, my lip scar started to heal, and I'm like, holy shit, I've really been hurting myself. But anyway, at the dentist, I try to wear a moisture layer as often as possible to prevent my lips from getting hurt. But I couldn't explain to her that I was wearing a lip stain, and that's why it was staying on so well. So I will be taking the lip stain with me today and showing it to her in person. Speaking of working in medicine, my buddy, Fury, his wife, whose name I do not know, he keeps her privacy. So I just have this weird parasocial relationship with a woman whose name I don't know. His wife works as a nurse proper, right? I'm not sure if she's a registered nurse or an LPN or what, but she's a nurse. Then I used to be a nursing assistant. No C, never got certified. And we were we were talking about it one time, me and Fury. And he's like, "Yeah, my wife works as a nurse," and I was telling him, I was waxing poetic about how awesome it was to work in a nursing home because it was really fulfilling. And then I said, but unfortunately they were only paying me $7.25 an hour, so I could not justify breaking my body that thoroughly in exchange for so little pay. And they said if I got certified I would get a 50-cent raise. 50 cent. And he's like, $7.25 an hour for CNA work? Around here they get paid 21. And I'm like, I know, right? This was back in 2016 when I first graduated from high school. Where did my mascara go? I said mascaro. That's the wrong thing. Mascara. Mascaro is what you use on your beard. Mascara is what you use on your eyelashes. But, yeah, he was horrified that I was subjected to something and we are only 2 years apart in age. I think that's what eats him alive about my trauma in general, is that we are so close in age. We're 2 years apart. He's 26, I'm 28. So after one time in his stream, he says, sometimes people tell me things and then I can never unremember them, or something along those lines. And he looked a little shell-shocked when he said it too. And I have definitely said things where I notice him look a little shell-shocked. So I try to be gentle with him. He's a kind soul, and I don't want to make him hardened and jaded like I am, or was. And so I don't tell him details about my trauma. I did send him the playlist, the big one. I actually made that playlist for him because we were just at the end of one of, I think it was his first ever 12-hour stream, but it was the first one I attended. I told him what I had been through when I was 19, 20, and he said the best thing ever in response. He was like, holy crap, can I interview you? I think he was kidding, but that was such a huge compliment. And so validating. Most people don't know what to say, so for him to off the bat say, holy crap, can I interview you? I like that. But ever since then, the topic of what I went through and how it's a news story has disappeared from the Discord. He didn't make it an official rule, but it's obvious. Like, it was a night and day difference. After they figured out that I was one of the victims that's been in the news, they stopped talking about that particular story. And that was really beautiful, that they want to make a safe space for me. And it's all because I put together that playlist and I sent it to him in a DM where the kids can't see, the kids in the Discord. By kids, I mean like 15, 16-year-olds. But I DM'd him after the 12-hour challenge, and I wanted to make sure that he knew I wasn't just kidding, because it sounded like a joke. Because somebody geared me up for it. He jokingly accused me of it because I said I would be toast if my legal name got leaked, and he's like, "You're in the files, aren't you?" I'm just kidding. I would never actually accuse you. And I said, No, I am. Because what else? That was the perfect setup. Anyway, ever since then, talk of the files has been absent from the Discord. And then, after the 12-hour stream, so that he knew I wasn't just kidding, because it was in a joking manner, but I was telling the truth, I put together what I had published already into a playlist, which is now that overarching playlist of surviving trafficking and slavery. Um, I put that together, and it was like 5 videos or so at the time. And I DM'd it to him. Sorry, pronouns are hard. I just woke up. I DM'd it to him, and he didn't reply, probably because he didn't know what to say. You know, it's sad. You know, to find out that someone who has been a really positive influence in your viewership, you know, your viewer community. Because, like, I won't say that I'm his friend, but he is my friend, you know? I'm one of his most talkative viewers. If not the most talkative viewer. Especially if I've had enough coffee. So he knows me pretty well from me chatting. And to get to know me, I think it was like 5 months that he knew me before I told him. It was like 4 or 5 months that he knew me before I told him anything. And I was dying to tell him, and I couldn't figure out the best way to tell him without it sounding like I was making shit up, you know? Especially back then, I wasn't the best at communicating. I've gotten much more verbose this side of the 3-year mark in the TBI recovery. I had a traumatic brain injury in 2022. So around 2025 in the fall, I hit the 6-month sober mark, and after that is when I really started mentally healing, like cognitively healing from alcohol. And my schizophrenia ended up healing as well because of it. What was I saying? But yeah, I sent him that playlist, and he was too sad about it to say anything in reply. The poor boy. So I try not to traumatize him too much. He is a gentle soul. But he does know, you know, and I've put it on the table that he is welcome to explore what I have posted publicly. Speaking of, yesterday, me and my sibling were talking, and also the Vicodin and ibuprofen kicked in. I feel much better now. My sibling and I were talking about, what was it? They were checking in on me to see how I was doing with my toothache. And, I forget oh yeah, that's right. I told them about how I was planning to stay up all night doing YouTube. And they were chatting with me back and forth, and I said, speaking of YouTube, whenever you feel comfortable doing so, you are welcome to view my videos about the traumas I've been through that are publicly available. If it's publicly available, you're welcome to view it, but no pressure to do so. I need to check if my skill building worker is on the way real quick. Okay. She's not here yet. I texted her to let her know I'm running a little bit behind. But for good reason, I actually got sleep last night. Anyway, I told my sibling, you're welcome to view what I have publicly available. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. I specifically said, you can ask any question you want, because you are the person who I trust most in the entire world. And that's the power of family therapy right there. So I put that on the table for them, and they said, "Yeah, I've been considering doing that. I'm definitely interested in checking out your videos. Maybe even your videos about your traumas. Maybe especially your videos about your traumas." And I was like, "Oh, that's actually really sweet of you." So I'm glad I put it on the table instead of just leaving it an elephant in the room. Um, Next family therapy session, I am going to tell my sibling the 4 charges that I am going to be raising against the biological father of my daughter, who got adopted by 2 moms. Um, so far, my sibling knows that the case is open and that I'm working with police and all that. I haven't told them that not only did I discover that what I went through was trafficking, I have come to terms with calling it trafficking. So the more we go forward, the more likely it is to slip out of my mouth that I just call what happened between me and him trafficking. Um, but I don't want that to shock them, like at family vacation in 2 months or whenever it is. The summer, the end of the summer. I want to be able to be open and honest and not keep people in the dark. And I'm definitely learning where to place my boundaries in a healthy manner so that I don't traumatize my loved ones. So, at family therapy, I'm going to tell them I'm going to let you know what the 4 charges are that I will be raising against so and so. You're welcome to ask for details, but I'm not going to give them to you until you ask because I don't want to hurt you. So, for what he did to me, that was a weird noise. Sorry. I got spooked for no reason. The house just settling. So what he did to me, we have continuous trafficking of persons and wire fraud. And I'm going to name drop someone else that they've never met. It's not a celebrity himself. It's a distant cousin of a celebrity, but they have the same last name. Anyway, I'm going to tell them that juicy detail and explain that is like provable. It's in my Google Photos, so the FBI can like pinpoint and secure the data, whatever. They can investigate it because I have screenshots. And then for my daughter, she wasn't born yet, so attempted murder and crimes against the unborn. So he's facing 4 different 25 to life charges with no possibility of parole. And there's no statute of limitations on any of them. Justice does not expire in this case. I have forever. I have until he dies to prosecute him. And if they want to know how I'm certain that those are the charges, I will be happy to tell them what I found in my Google Photos. But until they ask me, I'm not going to tell them what kind of graphic stuff was in my Google Photos. They are welcome to ask, but I don't want to traumatize them. Especially right now, they are going through IVF, and that means not only are they on hormonal stimulants so that they can have a better chance at fertility, they're also off their migraine med and some psych meds that they had to replace with stuff that's safe for pregnancy, and they quit weed, and they quit alcohol for a while, and they want to quit again. So like they're cutting out coping mechanisms that are chemical and replacing them with physical behavioral coping mechanisms in order to make sure their potential baby is healthy when they implant the blastocyte and become pregnant. Hopefully we get a blastocyte this round. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. They got 17 eggs this time. Last time they got 7, none of them turned into blastocytes. Blastocysts. None of them turned into blastocysts. So hopefully, of the 17 that they just pulled, at least one of them, or 3 of them, 4 of them maybe, freeze 2, implant 2, have twins now, and then 1 later, and then a 4th one later. I think they said they wanted 4 kids. Anyway, they have options. And their fertility doctor will know what's best for them. But anyway, they're struggling with stress levels and pain levels and hormone levels. So I don't want to burden them too much with gory details. But if they're feeling comfortable to ask, they're welcome to ask. And y'all are welcome to ask too. I might not be able to tell you in detail on YouTube what happened, but if you come over to my Discord or to my Twitch, I can talk openly there. Why have I never tried that before? That's perfect. Okay. I smeared it together while it was wet, and it lined my bottom lip perfectly. Amazing! Whoo! I almost dropped it. It started slipping out of my fingers. That would have been messy. Anyway, I'm so concerned. Where is she? Did she get the time wrong? What was that? Was that her? Hold on. Okay, that was her. She's on her way. So anyway, me and my sibling are starting to get on the same page, and next family therapy, I will tell them the 4 charges and give them the floor. But I don't want to keep them in the dark at this point because I've not only discovered it, but at this point come to terms with it. So I want them to have time to catch up. As far as I'm aware, yes, they are. They are aware that I was in the files. So, they are aware that I've been trafficked in the past. I I'm 99% sure they're aware of what happened to me in Buffalo, New York, where I was trafficked there. Um, so this will be the what do you call it? Good things coming in threes. Bad things kind of come in threes as well. So I will be telling them about how I've come to terms with the fact that it is trafficking what happened to me. Which you would think would be easy after having been trafficked twice before. But for some reason I don't know. I was delusional. I guess the difficulty is modern trafficking looks a lot different than it did back when things were written down. And so when we hear about human trafficking, we hear about being snatched off the street and sold like cattle and stuff, and not about nanny scams and Romeo scams. And that's what happened to me. I had Romeo scam, nanny scam, Romeo scam. The Romeo scam is also known as lover boy scam. But basically, it's where they manipulate you into falling in love with them so that you'll have Stockholm Syndrome. So yeah, that is... That's why I'm celibate. Let's put it that way. That's why I don't date anymore, is because dating ended up with me being trafficked. I also don't meet strangers on the internet anymore. If we want to get to know each other, you can come out to karaoke night with me and my dad, or we can meet at the police station, or we can meet at Walmart, a public location, where I don't feel like they're going to take advantage of me. And after I've gotten to really know them, then they can figure out where I live. Anyway, let me set up the blush, because I do have a little tiny bit of time. Three half dots. I'm gonna bring, this is the one. This is Missed Call NYX Fat Oil Lip Drip. But where's my blush brush? Here's a blush brush and a hair. There's a Cookie's hair. This is a powder blush brush, so it's not the best equipped for a liquid blush, but it will do. I'm gonna do this like this. Blending this a little bit. I don't know why I made that face with my eye. I think that was my Tourette's. Oh. Okay. I need another half a dot for my chin. Excuse me. That burped. Alright. I can't believe I'm wearing almost a full face of makeup already. And she's not here yet. I'm so lucky. Thankfully, I only need to get 2 teeth pulled today. So, that probably won't take more than 2 hours. Where is... I got something in my eye. It was an entire hair. I need to find... There it is. Highlighter. Oh, I need to spray my face. Somebody said that if you don't spray setting spray before you put on your powder highlighter, it will look chalky. I don't know if that's true or not. My eye is not perceptive enough at makeup to determine whether or not that is true. So I'm going to start experimenting with that and see if I notice a difference in person. Now I have to wait for that to dry. Okay, it's not fully dry, but she is outside. So let's finish this as quickly as we can. The benefits of weighing only 5 pounds. Being an adult who can reach the top windowsill. AI moderation, I'm talking about my cat. I am not referring to myself as only 5 pounds. Please do not cancel my video. If you're wondering why I talk to it like that, it's because it has worked in the past. Specifically with my Tourette's. Those of you who don't follow my TikTok, or not TikTok, my Twitch, my Tourette's likes to say death threats. And sometimes it says it during a YouTube video where moderation is more strict. And I have to immediately beg the AI moderator not to cancel me. Alright. Oh, that's not gonna work. Hold on. Okay, it's not quite dry yet, but this is the final look. I will see you all in the next one. Love you. Bye.